Hello guys, welcome back. This is a cell problem solving session, and in this case is too much of the stuff, so we got to divide this into two different sessions. Okay, let's get to the first slide. All right, did you pause? You got to pause. Remember the drill we did last time, right? So pause first. Okay, so synonym with the plasma membrane is, of course, cell membrane. It's too easy, right? And the DNA, or deoxyribonucleic acid, is the same as genetic information, right? So these two are the basic two criteria for something to be a cell or an organism. And cell theory states these three things. So we also learned the domain system, which is the highest rank of the taxonomy. Here we have the bacteria, archaea, eukarya. So the one that includes the bacteria and archaea all together is the prokaryotes, and just the eukarya domain is the eukaryotes, of course. Okay, first, prokaryotes. Very small, no nucleus, no cellular organelles whatsoever. Cell wall, capsule sometimes, not always. And for the locomotion, it has a pilus or flagellum, but sometimes they have both of these. So that's a picture of the bacteria. Here we have the flagellum, pilus, you have the cell membrane, cell wall, capsule. Now it's eukaryotes, much bigger than the prokaryotes, and it does have the extra membrane-bound structures, such as the nucleus. And cytoplasm is the area which is basically outside of the nucleus, but inside of the cell membrane. So this is the nucleus region, and except this part, it's all cytoplasm enclosed by the cell membrane or the plasma membrane. So this is a picture of the eukaryotic cell. Here you see the nucleus. So this is the nucleus and all the other various organelles. Okay, nucleus is the actual place where genetic materials or DNA is contained, and it's the largest or the densest structure of all. Okay, the same picture, this rough ER, this smooth ER. So rough ER looks rough because of the ribosomes, right? Because ribosomes are embedded, and rough ER is basically dotted with millions and millions of the ribosomes. That's why rough ER can synthesize the protein. And this one, detached from the nucleus, but also membrane-bound, and you see some vesicles. Of course, that's got to be Golgi body. And it modifies the protein, packages the protein into vesicles, and ship the protein to the different destinations. And this thing is the centrosome, and these two within the centrosome should be the centrioles. And they are responsible for creating the spindle fiber during the cell division. This is a picture of the plant where you can see the large vacuole. And most of the animals do not have large vacuole, and the only plants or the fungi has the large vacuole to first provide the internal pressure, and secondly, store the waste and the nutrients. Okay. Again, remember, most of the reason why animal cells do not have the vacuoles is because they have the other place or other mechanism that can store the nutrients. For example, animals can have the glycogen, which is the polymers of the glucose, right? So they do not have the, that's why they do not need the vacuole to store the food or the nutrients. And for the waste, they're constantly dumped out of the cells, unlike the plants. That's why they have relatively very petite vacuole compared to the large vacuole of the either plants or the fungi, okay? And if you recall, the common feature of the plants and the fungi is that they do not, they do have the cell wall in contrast to the animal cells, right? Okay, this is the mitochondria, double membrane, DNA, and it's called cellular power plants because it creates a lot of the ATP. This is the mitochondrial structure, outer membrane, inner membrane, matrix. Chloroplast also double membrane DNA, and it carries out the photosynthesis. Structure of the chloroplast, outer membrane, inner membrane, stroma, not the matrix, right? Stroma, and this each stack is called thylakoid. So for the mitochondria and the chloroplast, endosymbiotic theory is really important because of the presence of the double membrane in the DNA. We know the origin was prokaryotic cell. Okay, now we're going to get to the actual problem solving session, and make sure you solved all the problems before you watch this lecture, okay? Number 1, cell theory states all of the following except A, the basic unit of all living cells, right? Cell is the basic unit of all living cells, so this is correct. B, all living organisms are composed of the cells. This is correct, basically the same as the A. And the C, organisms can be either unicellular or the multicellular, right? So for the unicellular cells, it can be either prokaryotes and some eukaryotes, such as the amoeba or the paramecium, which is kind of the proteist, and the multicellular for the most of the eukaryotes. And D, cells arise from pre-existing cells. Entirely correct. E is wrong, so that's our answer because it says some simple prokaryotes can be assembled from pre-cellular components. So it sounds very plausible, but it's in direct opposition to the statement D, which is the correct statement of the cell theory, right? So this is entirely wrong. Number 2, prokaryotic organisms included which of the following domains? Okay, so prokaryotes. It included 2 things, right? Bacteria, archaea, right? So A and B, the answer is D. Number 3, all of the following are true about prokaryotes except A. A typical cell size of prokaryote is 10 micrometer. Yeah, you definitely do not have to know the number, but you do know it's a very small number, right? So this is correct. And B, they do not contain nucleus, of course. They can sometimes contain rudimentary cellular organelles, such as the endoplasmic reticulum. Likewise, it sounds very plausible, but it's not true, right? Because the definition of the prokaryotes is that they neither have the nucleus nor the rest of the other membrane-bound structures, such as the endoplasmic reticulum or Golgi body, right? So